everybody, and welcome to another exciting hair-raising fun-filled episode of Radiorama, where, as the name implies, I show you how to work on radios. And today we're going to work on, and I'm sorry I'm not able to get the full thing in here. It is a Curtis Mathis stereo. They got donated to us last week. It still even has the original tags and the owner's manual. Curtis Mathis was interesting. They were based out of Texas, and their claim to fame was that they made what they claimed to be America's finest, most expensive television sets. In reality, they were so-so. I mean, they were decent, but what they did was they would opt to put everything in really nice cabinets. That said, this one actually does pack a little heat. It is push-pull 6BQ5, set of 12-inch woofers and a set of tweeters. Has a record player, which is actually out right now. One of our members, Kyle, is working on it. He's the record player guy. The set actually still works, but we're going to rebuild it anyway, which means taking this chassis out. So let's see, this looks like it says it's a 1962 model. That seems about right. You have the little civil defense triangles. Those were gone, I think, by 1963 or 1964. And because, as mentioned in the past, what those were for originally was if the Russians or the Soviets were attacking us, you'd have fair enough warning to go to a shelter. But after 1963, the U.S. and the Soviets had intercontinental ballistic missiles which could strike one another in less than 20 minutes, so they got rid of those symbols. Because what's the point? No one would have enough time to get to the shelters. Very depressing. Anyway, we're going to shove this towards me so I can get to the back. It's very narrow working space in here. This is our incoming donation area, and this is the only place we could fit it since our building is so stuffed full at the moment. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. This is the back. I've seen this before. They have these huge cooling fins on their transformers. It's not a bad idea. It's using Mallory electrolytics, which is very good quality. I'm going to take a few pictures of these connections so I remember what is what. Let's see. Phono right and left. Multiplex. That multiplex goes down here. That must be the multiplex unit right there. So it actually has true FM stereo. Here are the speaker outputs. And I'm trying to figure out how would this be held in here. It might be held in from underneath, which is great. That means I'll need to... Actually, I'm going to bet money I have to take this entire back off, which is going to be all kinds of fun, but it is what it is. So again, I'll take a few pictures of this wiring setup so I remember how it goes back when I put it back in. But I need to get this sucker out of here and take a look underneath the chassis. I'm hoping, as quote-unquote new this is compared to what I usually work on, there will be a lot of ceramic caps and not a lot of paper caps. Alright, well... I don't have to remove the back. The screws are held underneath here where the record player goes. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not too bad. This is called being grateful that I'm still got some flexibility, because I'm going to have to lay down on my back to get to these things. Okay, so now we have the chassis out. And let's see what's going on underneath here. Oh, look at that. It's what I thought it was going to be. Shit tons of ceramic capacitors. I don't need to worry about those. And I believe these guys are plastic film caps, the single color capacitors. Those are probably all right.
That's where we're all at. That's where I'll be. But
that's the across the line cap. I need to replace that guy.
And then they got the font's different too, which is different engraver.
Oh man, look at this tuner. It's like pot metal.
Have to do the whole thing over again.
That's not good. I have to put some glue on that to make sure that's stabilized.
Yeah, well, we all went to fitness and pigged out.
Anyway, here's the electrolytics. We have a 60, 40, 10, and 100. And then we have a 40 and a 100. 100 microfarads are only 25 volts. I'm trying to figure out what this is. Someone blocked that off. Probably another accessory. like there's been mouse damage here. There's
I don't see any polarity.
mouse urine.
Be a stripe on the side. There's no.
Anyway, this is
You
pretty
know what the, I'll tell
pretty
you
easy.
what the polarity is. Yeah.
Sorry about all the noise in the background here. These guys are loud, but not Rajesh. He's quiet. All right. We're going to confirm that these, what we think are plastic film caps, are okay. So we have it run through our vintage Sprague Tele-mic, and capacitor's probably okay. How come the eye isn't coming
It
on?
works only for testing capacitors.
Ah, okay.
To measure the value. Sorry, not leak test. It's only for
I know next to nothing about these machines.
basically put it into high voltage and
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. Like these are, you see these guys? Do you remember? Someone told me, I think Scott, that if you have the solid orange, you know, these solid orange caps, they tend to be plastic film versus paper.
You mean, well, what are we talking about?
The black and
Oh, yeah, those are the black beauties.
No,
They
but
always fail.
no, I mean like there's different kinds. There's like
Oh,
There-
like
there's-
this, yeah.
if they're
this is
if they're multicolored, then they're paper. But I've heard, you know, you start getting into the 60s,
Yeah.
and they went
Well,
to
they
pla-
just used a color code. You're talking about bands on it, or
No, this only has one color. No multicolored bands ones are the ones that are paper,
yeah.
and these
And
are
those
not.
that's the because they didn't have the numbers on them. They had stripes. You had to
Yeah.
read the
Thermal
code.
base, yeah. This
Yeah.
is, you can look up the data sheet and it will clearly tell you what material it is.
So this is the
It's
outside
the
foil.
160p
Yeah.
series. So we can look up the data sheet, 160p, the catalog, Sprague catalog.
Oh,
or
to see
whatever.
what it is. Well, I got to put
But
my
this is
thing.
good.
What is it showing
It's
for
almost like-
capacitors?
This is capacitance 047. Leakage is good. It's almost like
Well, it might be in circuit leakage. Though.
no, it's not.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's 4.7, 0.047.
Yeah, I think you
Pretty
know.
good. It's not leaking.
I-
You can
I-
look it up. It's 160p series, right?
Yeah,
Look it up for you.
that'd sure be a time saver because I mean, there's like 10 of these guys in there.
And those might be all right.
Well,
I mean,
the-
are you
the-
just generally changing them for the?
I don't want to change them if I don't have to.
Oh.
That's the installation resistance. That's good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's way up there. I would not bother with
But
that.
actually, we can look up the data sheet, the catalog for the series, and that'll tell you what is the composition, like it's a paper or.
We're going to have a lesson from Rajesh. He's going to show us how to test capacitors with the Sprague Tele-mic.
Put it into insulation resistance,
Insulation resistance.
and press this button,
Uh huh.
and turn this until it hits the right hand side.
Uh huh.
Okay, that's the resistance setting basically.
Okay.
The measuring resistance. And
So the shitty old capacitor here,
yeah,
Bumblebee cap,
and
0.047.
that's a shot.
Ah,
Because the resistance.
because it would go all the way to the right if it was
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
Because this is measuring the resistance, insulation resistance in mega ohms.
Okay.
That's basically zero.
All right.
This is a shot.
That compared to a good one, which is the same value, 0.047, I believe.
Yep.
And we try that. And it'll probably start charging up.
At this point, the setting of this capacitor is around
Should be around 400 or so.
Yeah, ideally it can go even high if you leave it
Yeah.
for a while.
even with this.
It's not 400, it's actually reading the resistance. down
Okay.
here. That's
All right.
We're adding a lot of
Mega ohms, that's like a giga ohm now.
Okay.
2 giga ohms.
So that's completely different, opposite of the other one.
And for a shorted capacitor, you can see the change. The meter will back to zero.
Yep. Thank you for that lesson. Meantime, we did find out that those orange capacitors are fine. They're actually dielectric plastic and paper, but they're fine. I know I was kind of making fun of this earlier, but surprisingly, they put good quality components in this thing. I hope you can hear what I'm saying to those guys over there yelling at the top of their lungs. But what I did was I marked down all of the values. These cans have little symbols on the side. Hump, square, triangle, and non-marked. So 60, 40, 10, 100. The 100 is 25 volts, and then the other one is 40, 100, square, triangle. Just a matter of flipping this over and replacing like with like. Okay, so this is what we do. You see how each one of these lugs has the shapes. Triangle, square, humpback, non-marked. And we have our values marked here. Triangle, square, humpback, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's all chassis ground, so we can move our leads wherever we want.
Then you know,
So I'm gonna
because it's
go do a little shopping for some capacitors. I've seen this brand before, Milwaukee brand resistors. Oh, Milwaukee makes a lot of beer. Apparently, they also made lots of resistors.
Yeah, this is even more inductance here. This is
I'm gonna have to get some super glue and fill that in. That's
the top end.
I don't want that stuff to shed in there and cause shorts.
And the resonance is
But let's replace. We have 4 here, 2 there, 6 electrolytic capacitors to replace. This thing is cake compared to a lot of things I work on, because these ceramic caps, if they've all been paper, this would have taken forever. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I mean, probably like 50 in here. That needs to be replaced too. A little Mallory. It's only 25 volts on it. It's probably okay, but I'll replace it anyway. Alright, so we've replaced all the electrolytics. Is there anything else I need to do here? Oh yeah, I did the cross the line cap. That's been replaced. I'm going to use some glue to put this back together again, make sure it's not going to come apart. Well, something is happening I'm not pleased about, which is this pot metal has expanded so much on the AM that it's rubbing up against the bottom of the chassis. So what I'm going to do is spin it around a little bit and see if I can establish a wear pattern. And then it's time to go get the Dremel tool and grind off the high spots here. Well, this is ridiculous. I had to get the Dremel tool out and grind a tremendous amount of out of metal off of this. Oh well, it works good now. Probably just wipe a little super glue in there just to make sure it's not going to come loose. Then I'm going to flip it up and clean the top surface. Okay, now it's time to do some meat deoxit.
Oh, I asked you about.
Alright, so the chassis is ready to be reinstalled. I got a new eye tube, cleaned the chassis, and I'm trying to remember what I filmed last. I get so distracted here. What I want to do is clean this out. I know that no one's going to see it, but I feel better about it. And then I'm also going to clean that metal front here. I got some warm water and some detergent. You don't want to use anything too harsh. Alright, so we got the stereo back in, and it's working pretty good now. Unfortunately, my eye tube's crooked, so I'll have to go in from behind and turn it. Getting a little bit of hum on FM, but it could be because I haven't touched the multiplex adapter yet, and they have some old caps inside. Other than that, it sounds really good. Here's the multiplex I pulled, and it has some electrolytics in it. No doubt they're probably bad. These two guys. That's got some voltage on it, 300 volts on that one. 2 microfarads, 150, so a little bit of voltage there. These guys could possibly be definitely bad. Alright, so replace the electrolytics in this guy. Reinstalling it's actually more of a difficult thing than it was to recap it. Alright, I'm about to foolishly and stupidly admit that this was making a horrific humming noise. Turned out that, you know, I should have tested the tube, so I put it back in there, because the 6AQ8 tube was dead. Well, at least partially dead. FM was only coming out like partially. It's very distorted. And I did that after I took it out of the cabinet again. So let me put it back in again. I love it. Alright, so I've got it all back together again except for the record player. That's being worked on upstairs. It's a really tight space to be working. In fact, I just about knocked that antenna over. But it sounds rather nice. I've been letting it run here for about an hour or so. It's got these interesting doors that close. Alright, turn it off for the evening. Maybe we'll go upstairs and see how Kyle's doing on the record player. Okay, here's the record player Kyle's been working on. He actually repainted this because it was rusty. He got a hammer tone paint, and he's also, I think he's gotten the mechanism all working on it. Well, I accidentally filmed this initially at 30 times speed, so Kyle was like, but he's making an extension so that when you pull out the changer, it doesn't come loose from the chassis like it was doing before. So he's working on the record player. The electronics are done. The cabinet's mostly done. I'll come back next week and clean it some more. Then it should be ready to go. Well, I forgot to film the end of the episode. We finished this 2 days ago, and some folks came and bought it. And obviously it's in a truck, so I can't turn it on. You'll just have to trust me that it works. Thanks so much for watching this episode. I know it's kind of haphazard, slapdash, but that's how it goes sometimes. And so until the next time that a piece of equipment or a radio or whatever comes across my workbench, I'll see you guys next time. Adios.